Everybody, my name is Derek Peterson. I'm the president of Hope Holdings. Recently did a video review of the social network Gab as part of my series reviewing all the alternative social networks. And in response to that video, which ended up being like 50 minutes long, I had several people asking me to do a follow-up to that, a shortened, more condensed version, focusing specifically on the pump and dump aspects of what's going on with Gab and try to explain that a little bit more detail. So that's what this is. So first, let me define what a pump and dump is. A pump and dump is something where a price is inflated through pumping it, through talking up about it, through exaggerating numbers, exaggerating revenues, exaggerating users, trying to find some way to build excitement in something, artificial excitement in something, in order and hype it in order to increase the value of it, right? The dump part of things can come in lots of different forms, right? It could be something as drastic as just saying, psych, I'm out of here, and just take the money and run, right? Or it could be something like letting the site get shut down through some legitimate reason, because there's a lot of legitimate reasons why a site like Gab could get shut down, legally speaking, already, right? Distributing child porn, allowing pro members to redistribute child porn for revenue, and all sorts of other. They're violating lots and lots of things. Lots of things could legally get the site shut down right now, right? So it'll be a very easy thing for them to just let the site get shut down, play the victim, and then promise to come back stronger and better than ever before, and then just disappear with money and go do something else, right? And just play the victim. Or it could just be some, teetering and just, have a salary paid for while you're developing other things for a couple of years, right? And just let it kind of teeter, not really do anything, okay? So that's what a pump is, a pump and dump. The dump is kind of hard because it's, future, so you don't really know. But the pump part of it that's going on right now is pretty easy to pinpoint, right, and articulate. So that's what I'm going to try to do in this video. To me, the number one, before I get started, the number one proof that it's a pump and dump sort of a deal is the historical fact that Gab has been given something close to $2 million already and spent almost $2 million over the course of many years, and has literally a website that probably cost $10,000 or $15,000 to build, that almost nothing works on. So when you see something where they're given all this money to build something, they don't actually use that money to do the things that they should be doing, and they're using the money in other ways, then you can be pretty sure that that's a very good sign that they're not looking to invest in it, because they know it's not their end game, right? So it's just wasting money to them to invest money in something they know they're going to burn to the ground later, right? So if you were going to, run an insurance scam on your business and you're rebuilding it and you're planning on burning it in the future, you're not going to build some with really nice materials, right? You're going to build it cheap. So, you can do it and then try to increase the value, make the value seem as high as possible and then burn it to the ground. So that's what a pump is, pump and dump. So let me give you some examples. To me, there's, the five main reasons why I think it's a pump and dump is: one, historically, they just haven't built anything with the money they've been given, right? To me, is the most damning proof, right? Next is they're lying and conflating terms in regards to the number of users on the website, which really, when you're looking at evaluation of a website, you have what the technology is worth, and again, that's worth like $10,000-$15,000 probably, right? You have the revenues the site's generating, and really their site has no real business model. The only money they generate is from donations, right? People signing up for these pro memberships, from which you get very little, right? You kind of have a paywall to hide content behind, which is probably being used mostly to distribute porn, like I said. And I gave some examples. I did it in the longer video I did. I give some examples of that in there. So if you're interested in that, I suggest you watch that. So they don't really have a business model. It's just all donations. And so And then you have, your user counts, right? What the potential revenues are if somebody tried to monetize those users, right? That's really all. And then you have your assets, like I said, the tech and offices and whatever else you have, right? Um, File cabinets, tables, whatever, right? The business has, right? So that's how that's what else is there for valuation for an internet company, right? And so in this case, the only real thing they have is the hype of excitement of users, okay, in determining their valuation. Um, so the lying about user counts, the ginned up excitement about these different waves of people joining the website and this, that they try to promote. Um, these mirror accounts that they have on the site of celebrities and famous people, that they do there, like Donald Trump and Ivanka Trump, all these accounts. Um, and they try to trick naive people into thinking that, oh, Trump's on the site. Oh, Ivanka's here. Okay, cool. This is real, And and then the other thing is, of course, in part of every pump and dump is the promise of huge returns if you invest. Okay, so let's break these down. So number one, lying about the user counts. There's tons of evidence about this online. Okay, and conflating terms. Okay, I mean, he recently, since my first video, I noticed he deleted. Like he had, I mean, like every couple of days or weeks, he would just be posting these user counts, like showing this growth, right? And since I posted my video, apparently they've all been down. He took them all down now, right? I think he's getting in trouble with the SEC already, or his the Start Engine folks, the ones that are running his crowdfunding campaign for him. And so we had to take all this stuff down, all these claims down. It looks like, and he's being much more careful with his language now. That me and a bunch of other people have been attacking him for this, conflating of terms, trying to trick people. So let me give you some examples here. Recently, I mean, this isn't that recent. This was probably a couple of weeks ago now that I posted this. What I did is I just posted a bunch of screenshots of public statements that he's made, mostly on his own website, about user counts and things like that. And so this was a couple of weeks ago, I think 690. I think he's at like 750 or something, like 750,000 user or something like that now. But anyway, he says now 690,000. We added 10,000 yesterday alone from our airplane banner campaign spreading across the web. No, it didn't. It's frustrating when you listen to these exaggerations. You're just like, oh, I mean, it's so ridiculous, some of this stuff. So again, this is what he's doing, right? Just so you understand, this is an old tactic. As long as the internet's been around, people have been playing these games, trying to trick people that aren't real internet savvy on terms, right? Like in the old days, people would say, I had 100,000 hits today, right? Hit, that was the big word everyone used. Hits, right? A hit, and people would think when they heard the term hit, oh, that meant you had 100,000 users today, or you had 100,000 page views, right? Mostly they would think it was users. But actually what a hit was, anytime an image loads on a web page, it causes a hit to the server, to the database, right? And so you could have 1,000 images on one page, right? Or you could have 100,000 images on one web page. One person goes to one web page, it makes 100,000 hits, okay? So it's a little sneaky to say I had 100,000 hits today, and in your mind you only had one visitor look at one page, but that other person thinks, oh, I had 100,000 users today. Okay, this thing is worth something, right? That's tricky, right? That's to me, that's intentional deceit. It is intentional deceit, right? I don't think anybody could be that ridiculous to say anything otherwise, but that's what they do, right? So he's conflating the terms users, registrations, and active users. See, when Gab was first set up, they didn't have any kind of CAPTCHA or any kind of email verification for users. They still don't, I don't think, right? I think they have an email verification, but you don't actually need it. It sends you an email to click on it, but your account's already active, right? So he just put it in there to say, hey, look, we have email verification, but you don't actually need it, right? So he's just being deceptive there again to somebody. But anyhow, whatever. For the majority of the term of the life of the website, he didn't have any CAPTCHA. CAPTCHA is the little code you put in when you register to prove you're a human being, He didn't have any of that, and they didn't have any email verification. So you could have these bots. A bot is basically a computer-generated identity, right? So you could have these AI computer-generated identities created thousands and tens of thousands of times a day. Some guy writes a little program and just register, 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 and you can create 100,000 accounts today, right? And and look like, oh wow, look at this site, look at all the excitement we have, look at all these new users, and then these AI computers can actually post content, right, based on specific topics that you tell it to, and then it can actually follow up and like other people's content, and even write comments, and upvote and or downvote, and repost. It can do all these things. Okay, this is not complicated technology nowadays at all. Okay, if you allow the bots on your website, then you can have one user and the site looks like it has 100,000 people on it. Okay, and that's what they did. They intentionally set the site up to be as bot friendly, as ridiculously open as possible. Okay, and that's what the site is. It's almost all bots. Okay, and the problem is a lot of them become, they like it when they're nice bots and they're posting news and things. They're like, bring on the bots, makes us look good, right? But when they start posting tranny porn like they do on Gab once in a while or all the time, then they're like, oh, we don't like these bots anymore, right? And so then they say we're being attacked. And I'm like, no, you open the door up to them on purpose, right? And now you're playing the victim, right? But you can't have your cake and eat it too. You can't lie about the numbers, exaggerate about the numbers, and then complain when they don't behave, right? So anyway, back to the pump. So he's claiming to have 690,000 users here. Okay, that was his most recent claim. All right, so in his current fund, he's doing another crowdfunding campaign right now for $1 million. I think the valuation is like $30 or $40 million. He gave Gab or something crazy, but anyway, I don't know. But it's just ridiculous. But anyway, here you can see he's saying we have, I'll read this to you if you can't read it. As of date hereof, we have over 660,000 cumulative registered users from around the world. So he's qualifying things here and saying cumulative registered users in the fine print of his offering document. But publicly, he's saying users, right? He's trying to trick people. And then here in the fine print, he's saying registered users, because all of us have been cracking down on him and saying, you're lying, you're lying, you're lying, right? In his earlier offerings, his other fundraising campaigns, he just said users, right? So he's already busted. But anyway, he's trying to fix it now, right? He's probably going to say, oh, I didn't know. Of course I meant that, right? But well, that's what everybody else does, right? No, they don't. Okay. We're able to determine that users are unique via confirmed email addresses. They don't have email verification. Just because someone said, I could say a@a.com, b@b.com, c@c.com. Just because they're unique emails doesn't mean they're unique people, especially if you don't have email verification. It's the stupidest thing in the world, right, to say that. And again, same thing with IPs. However, there may be some via confirmed email addresses and unique IP addresses, right? However, there may be some users which switch IP addresses using VPN, which we cannot account for in our data. It's so ridiculous. I mean, it doesn't even make sense. It doesn't. I mean, believe me, folks, listen, the IP, of course, people can switch IP addresses, right? And people can have, a whole group of people can have the same IP. I mean, it's ridiculous. VPNs only have so many IPs, right? So if I guarantee you that, again, if you looked at unique IPs, he would have nowhere near these numbers, guaranteed. Okay. Anyway, during the 30 days prior to this filing, approximately 250,000 of our registered users have logged into our platform. Okay. So here he's even admitting, saying, and again, he's trying to be sneaky here with this 250,000 number, right? But he's actually saying that for the 30 days prior, we only had 250,000 actually use the site. Okay, so 400,000 of them basically are dead accounts. Okay, they don't exist anymore. They're not. So you can't say 660,000 users like he does publicly everywhere, 700,000 users, when he knows perfectly well he has 200. In here he's claiming to have 250,000 active users, right, over a 30-day period. But again, I guarantee you what he's doing here, because by the way this is worded, he had 250,000 logins to his website over the course of 30 days. Okay, a user on a typical social network logs in, and most of these people on Gab have multiple accounts, right? But even a normal user would log into a website, a social network, 4 or 5 times a day, right? Or more, especially if they have multiple accounts, right? So the number's probably closer to like 50,000 unique users, okay? There's no unique in here, okay? If he said unique users, 250,000, then that would mean something. When he says 200,000, 250,000 registered users have logged in, that just means he had 250,000 logins. It doesn't mean 250,000 unique individuals. So he's even lying in this document. He's trying to be sneaky even in this document, okay? It is incredibly deceptive for anybody that knows what's going on. It's incredibly annoying, right? That people can be like this, right? So-called conservatives, so-called Christians, okay? It's really annoying to me. And so the deal is 250,000 logins does not 250,000 unique active users make, okay? Big difference, huge difference, okay? So now let's go back and look at this $5 million round that he tried to get through the SEC, but they rejected, I guess, 3 times at least. I think that's still rejected. But anyway, so here he's claiming we have over 431,000 users from around the world, okay? This was before he really started coming under the heat from all of us, okay? So here he's just saying users. That's a lie, okay? Huge lie. And he knows it. All right. And here in his first one that he did last year, where he raised $1 million already, right? Here he's saying Gab has 191,000 users from around the world. No, they don't. They have 191,000 registrations, but not users. They're bots. They're fake identities, bots. Okay, not real. I'll come back to this screen in a second. So I'm just going to give you a bunch more examples of his public statements regarding these numbers. So here's another one, 670,000 users. I got like 30 of them here, right? It's just annoying to look at them all. 670,000 gabbers, 650,000 users, added another 10,000 since Alex Jones was banned. We passed 625,000 users. 590,000 gabbers, about 580,000 gabbers, 575,000 users, 570,000 gabbers, another 4,000 new users today. If you go back and look throughout time, 10,000 users signed up today, 4,000 users signed up today. It'd be like 1 billion people. The number, it's ridiculous. And when you go back and look at all these statements he's made, it's just like, what is he doing? Now, of course, what he's going to do is he's going to try to say, oh, well, they were registrations, but then we figured out later they were bots, so we removed them, right? But these are our new numbers. No, that's intentionally deceit. You can't have your cake and eat it too, right? And he's claiming the hype, saying, oh, look at all these registrations. And then he's trying to get the numbers back so we can kind of, it's kind of like, he's kind of factoring it. So he's saying, okay, we're always going to keep like a factor of 10. That's a lie, right? So 1/10 is going to be real and, 90% lie, okay? And so he's trying to keep it like reasonable, like, but 10% lie. I mean, 90% lie is still a pretty big lie, right? Or a factor, right? Another 4,000 new users overnight. 11,000 people signed up for Gab overnight. About to pass 525,000. Gab has passed 500,000 user mark. Gab crossed 500,000. 11,000 new users, 24 hours, right? Another 4,000 new users today. Gab has passed 550,000 users, 330,000 users, right? So, I mean, these are just going back, throughout time. They're all over the place. Like I said, he removed most of them. There's tons of video of him with making these same claims publicly. So he can't delete it all, and all of us have screenshots already. So it's ridiculous. He's conflating terms, intentionally trying to trick people. His only defense there is he's going to try to come back and say, well, we figured out they were bots and then we removed them. But he's still lying about the numbers, okay? 250,000 users did not 250,000 unique users did not log into Gab over the last month. All the active users on the site, probably 90% of the active users on the site are bots. Gab probably has between 10 and 20,000 users that use the site. If that, probably 10,000 users that use the site on a monthly basis, okay? That's it, folks. That's it. Okay. And the site is built with PHP and MySQL. It can't handle more than, probably for when it first launched, couldn't handle more than 1,000 active users, concurrent users, I mean, online at the same time. And the site is a total joke technology wise. So conflating terms. There's a big difference between registrations, active users, okay, and logged in, right? Logged in means nothing too. If a user logs in 10 times in one day, it's not 10 different people, right? It's the same user, right? The same user could have 3 or 4 accounts. It's still the same user, right? So the whole thing's kind of a fake, okay? That's the numbers part of things. The next thing is ginning up this excitement about these mass waves that he's done, right? The recent one was the Kenyans, right? So he claimed, so there was this guy on Twitter who was he's basically a bot farmer, right? So he's this guy, he has like a followers. He's supposed to be like an online, celebrity of some sorts from Kenya. And he has like millions of followers. So, but they're really all just bots, these computer generated identities. So Twitter banned all these identities, and he made a big huff and said, "Oh, Twitter's censoring me." And he's not censoring you. They're not real people. No one's being censored. You can't censor computers, right? And so anyway, he took down all these AI bots, or Twitter did, and then somehow, for some reason, they decided to move over to Gab, right? So Torba was pushing it and saying, "Oh, we had 10,000 Kenyans," and then I heard other numbers like 20,000 and 50. I think he said like more than that when he was on some radio show talking about this and made a big deal of it. The whole thing is a fake. Okay, this Kenyan guy, this is the fella here, this kid. He does this for a living. People pay him big money, especially during elections and things like that, to go in and just and do these massive bot attacks on other individuals to make them look bad, or to promote a product, or to promote some e-celebrity to get them a bunch of followers just to build excitement or whatever they want to do. These are like mercenaries. These are like, internet mercenaries. They're not nice guys. Okay. This isn't a good guy. Okay. They don't work for free. Right. So he's not going to go to, this Twitter site that's full of white supremacists from, this Kenyan guy's not going to decide to go over there. Right. And move his accounts over there. Right. For free. Right? He's not doing it for free. I mean, I have no proof, obviously, that Gab paid them, but these guys don't work for free. They're not nice guys. What I did is I actually went over to Gab, contacted this guy, right, on Gab, and said, "Hey, would you guys be willing to do the same thing on our website that you're doing here on Gab to build excitement?" And we started negotiating price back and forth. Of course, I didn't do it. I don't want these guys on my website, right? But they're for hire. Okay, that's what they do. Okay, so there's been lots of these things. This was such an obvious one. I'm just like, oh, it's so annoying that they can go and promote this thing when this guy's a known bot farmer. Okay, and he does this for a living, and they're promoting it like this is some huge thing, right? And it's really, there's been several of these. It's kind of funny, but at the same time, it's not, because I know he's doing it to try to build excitement and try to get in the press, right? To pump the value, which is really what it's all about. The other thing they do that is super deceptive is they create these fake accounts on Gab, mirror celebrities like Trump and everybody, really. I mean, every big name e-celeb or politician you can think of has an account on Gab, although none of them have ever registered, right? They have other folks or bots that are creating these identities and then mirror posting all the posts they make other places on the website. So when some naive soul comes to Gab and they say, "Oh, look, Trump's here. Oh, wow, this is for real. Oh, Melania's posting here. Or, look, Ivanka, she's posting her vacation pics. Oh, this is cool. I'm going to contact her. And I feel like I'm part of the group now, right?" And so they trick people, naive people like that. And he's been called out on that, and by some e-celebs themselves, saying, "Hey, you're diluting my efforts online. I'm trying to make money here," right? And his response, this was his response, I'll just read it to you. when he was being called out as, saying, "Hey, are you guys doing this with these e-celebs?" And he said, "No, it's another gabber. He has our full support. E-celebs can eat shit. If they won't post here, we will automatically post here for them." Okay. Not cool. Okay. I'm not going to get into all that. I go over that more in my long video, but they're not real accounts. They're not real people. Okay. It's just a way to make the site look credible. Okay. To pump the value. Okay. Again, here's another statement he made. Now that these RSS feeds are on Gab, I don't even need to view feeds on other platforms anymore. We could literally import all of Twitter and all of Reddit to mirror post instantly, and there is absolutely nothing they can do to stop us. Right. And then this guy here, Judge Dredd, chimes in, aside from a copyright infringement suit, which is true. Again, that's another way the site could get shut down, right? Pretty easily, because the site is just full of this stuff. And if you take 100% of other people's stuff, that's not fair use. Okay, even if it is just 300 characters, you're diluting good people's efforts. Okay, so those are the three main elements. You got the lying about the numbers, you got the ginning up excitement, you got the mirroring of accounts to make it look credible. But then, with every good pump and dump, you have to have the promise of a really good return on your investment. Okay, so and this pump and dump is no exception. So here's a statement Torba made. This blows my mind. I'll just read it to you. It's going to democratize, finance, and power projects like Gab because anyone can invest. One of our users who maybe makes $40K a year to support a family can put in $200 and own a piece of Gab this early in the game. We can change their lives. What would making that $200 turn into $200,000 do for a working class family like that? I know for my own family, it would be life-changing. Those are the people I'm really fighting to make Gab great for, not make a massive return for some hedge fund or venture capitalist elite. Yeah, he wants to make a huge return for himself. and no hedge fund manager or capital VC has ever been that greedy, right? As this kid. But it's annoying. It's ridiculous, right? I mean, I'm no like SEC expert or anything like that, obviously, but I've talked to people that are very smart in these areas and attorneys and ask them, are you allowed to make up numbers like this on user counts? Are you allowed to promise these huge returns and things like that? And they're like, no, that's illegal. You can't do that. Look what happened just happened to Elon Musk, right? For promising these huge returns. Okay. He's getting replaced, and not even huge returns. He just said a number and now he's getting replaced. Right. So you can't do this kind of stuff. Okay. And that's the pump aspect of it. I would not advise investing in this thing. I know there's a lot of well-meaning people that want to fight back against the censorship that's taking place online, but this is not the way to do it, throwing your money away and giving it to somebody who's not actually producing any real results. So don't invest. If you do, and you lose your money, which you're going to, then I would recommend you to sue Gab, obviously, to try to get your money back, and which they probably won't have any left at that point, and or Torba, and sue this company here, Start Engine. They're the ones who are running these crowdfunding campaigns. They're pushing these campaigns through. I contacted them directly myself already on Facebook publicly and said, hey, you guys are lying about the number counts here in your claims, and you know it. And you're intentionally promising these huge returns, and that's illegal, and you know it. And they basically just, we're not responsible for the statements off our site. And I'm like, well, you made the statements on your site, and then they cleaned up their website. But still, they know it's a scam. Okay, they know that this is a pump and dump, right? And they're complicit in it. So when the time comes, you need to get your money back. You want to get your money back. You're mad, that all your money ended up in Turkey with the co-owner of the site, then here's who you need to sue. Okay. So startengine.com. If you have any questions, just contact me at oneway.com. I'm Derek Peterson from Hope Holdings. Thanks again. Bye-bye.